Hey there. I've always thought of saying, hey there, progressive patriots, but some people take issue with the term or the word progressive, and hell, maybe people take issue with the word patriot, although I'd be shocked about that one. I haven't been around. Life is chaotic and ever so busy. The world keeps turning. And, well, if it wasn't for the iPad that's constantly on, and my dog that alerts me anytime that there is movement or sound, I would not be aware of some of the things that the mainstream media has been going on about. And that mostly, I heard some things that were nothing short of shocking today. And before that, I've had a lot of thoughts about Trump's VP pick, and I haven't really talked about it. Now, I have to offer full transparency. I don't really know much about Mr. JD Vance. I'll tell you quite quick. Happy Monday. Oh my god, it is Monday. Yeah, I had a day off today. Happy Monday to you. How you doing, Drew? This is going to be a quasi-political rant, inspired by some of the things I've heard, some of the things I know, some of the things that I'm ill-informed about, and watching informative channels. Shout out to Rattlesnake TV, video just dropped about 2 hours ago. There are things happening outside of our bubble, known as the United States, that are alarming and building, and it makes me question what's next and what happens when there is a crossover. Now, there's some things that we here in the States have in common with the UK. We can both fairly say that there's some immigration issues, and are apparently right now, as I speak, in the UK, there's massive civil unrest and protest. Now, yes, I'm quite ignorant to most of the facts, but the things that I've just learned in such a quick succession have me in a bit of a state of shock. And the status quo over there, the media, the police, all in the name of political correctness, are covering up certain crimes while pandering and bloating others. Something that's also similar, and I might sound a certain way. Please remember, I'm just doing the best I can to get what I have inside out there. It is quite possible I may say something offensive or completely misunderstood. But when I'm talking about the civil unrest that I just witnessed, I don't know if you're familiar with Robinson. Tommy Robinson. That's a fella, that's a chap in the UK who started quite a group, you could say. I guess depending on who you ask, some people would say he's a white nationalist. Oh, I'm going to get to Miss Camel Harris, because what I just heard on the media in passing has me shook. But sticking on with the UK, Tommy Robinson is a fella who, to my knowledge, from my perspective, from the time that I got very invested following his work, uh, originally he started as completely anti-Islamist and was viewed as such, as a white supremacist. Then he went on this journey of enlightenment or education, where he started to meet with other fellow Muslims that were more interested in integrating with society than overtaking the society and putting in their own Sharia law. This is crazy for me to even mention, because I work for a lovely Muslim family that I would probably, put my life at risk for. So the duality is not lost on me here. So Tommy Robinson, some more context here. I don't think he's a hate monger. I don't think he's evil. I think he has seen a threat to, and I quote, the Judeo-Christian way of life, or even for the white Britain. I don't know how else to really put that. And any time that he would be critical of the criminal element of the migrants or immigrants, he would be lambasted as a racist. I don't think things are never black and white, and he was definitely going down a road of enlightenment in terms of finding other Muslims that did not agree that Sharia law was a good fit for democracy, or a republic for that matter. and he really got high up there. Right now, though, I don't know what has happened with the years that have passed, and now he orchestrated something, what, 10,000 Christians to gather in Britain, in the UK, and then there's counter protests to that. Recently, there was a horrific crime, I think, that sparked this thing happening in the UK. And by the way, apparently jets have been deployed and are armed, heading over to Tehran, trying to splice together all the information I just took in and keep it in order. Not an easy task. There was this is hard to say on YouTube without hitting any of the red lights here. A boy, a boy of non-British descent, of an immigrant family, not a British national. He just decided to take a very sharp object and end the lives of three little girls. That's it. Like, children on children violence. This apparently has led to some of the protests as a result. And then from Rattlesnake TV, you can see it in the title at the very end of it. It says, "This is bad." It's UK civil unrest protests slash "This is bad," and you can just see more of the story. A lot of these, a lot of gangs, a lot of immigrant gangs that have formed and are going on some crime escapades are occurring, and this is the result of the crazy approach and lack of care for the way immigration is going. So you know what happens when a bunch of immigrants from Libya or wherever, which is the border where you go through the Mediterranean, get to the shores of Britain, not very much unlike the United States. You're given some cash on a debit card, a hotel, and you're given dental care. So great incentive. Then there was a clip of a younger Arabic man saying, "I don't like labels like terrorist. I'm no terrorist." Fast forward to I don't know what year, 2020, 2016. He decided to wear a giant explodey device and take out 23 people that were all that were all white at a Taylor Swift concert, and 23 lives were lost. He boomed himself. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that Trump wins because of immigration, but I'm worried about J.D. Vance. Now, first, Kamala Harris. Okay. I have a lot of concerns in general. I'll say it time and time again because the truth is consistent. Never forget, and I don't care if this is it's dirty laundry, that this is the game that politics plays with us, and these are the facts, and the facts should matter. She withheld evidence that would have exonerated a man on death row, and the courts had to pry it out of her cold, bloodless, reptilian, cackling hands, and he was exonerated and freed before his untimely unaliving. She also did not look into not a singular complaint when she was the DA of San Diego, California. Not a single one. And she, to this day, has had no answers into why. I mean, if it's just that she's a thin blue line, robust supporter, I guess they found her niche in the Democratic Party. Kind of strange place to find yourself. But that's what we're dealing with, and the money that she's been... there's no doubt about it in my mind. It's Karskar, Barb A, and Andrew, thank you for engaging here. How you guys doing? Karskar, man, great to see ya. Coming more to America near you, that's what inspired me to do this, man. After watching some of the chaos, Twitter is filled with the clips of the civil unrest. It is violent, it is scary. There is something akin to vigilantism occurring there from all sides, both sides, and something that's really being pushed hard. And does this make me... am I being viewed as more left or more right for reporting it or repeating it as it is or as it's said? There are far more gangs of immigrants than there are the latter. And then every time there's a response from the latter, from the Christian base or white folk. I don't know how else to politically correctly say this terminology. The media will say racism, and their new prime minister or labor prime minister guy in the UK. I'm supposed to be talking about Kamala Harris. He just came out and they had a side by side comparison of how he handled like the BLM riots versus how he's talking about any white folks going out and protesting, and how swift and insane the law will be. They're gonna treat you like you've just participated in January 6th all over again. They're gonna throw the book at you. Don't expect due process. I mean, I don't. It's just so heavy-handed and swift. All the while, after making his speeches, he's in his mansion having a spot of tea. But Kamala Harris scares the crap out of me. All the money that was sitting in Joe Biden's super PACs, or however it is that he came to be under control of this huge amount of money, it is going to go or already has, it's going straight to Kamala Harris. She didn't earn that. She wasn't voted for. Don't get me into the argument of Biden being voted for to the extent that they want us to believe in the first place. And when it comes to money and super PACs, look, I know Trump is also a billionaire. And I just had a very brief, not so much debate, but conversation with my father, who is a Democrat through and through and intends to vote for Kamala Harris, about how, that's just the case. And I had to point out, look, we are talking about a two-party system. Money rules the world. And that's going to be the ultimate voter every time. It's the green, not you and me. I don't know how people can slowly just abide by this. I'm reminded by my friend Joe, who right now, I hope he's flying safely. There's some storms out in his area. I can't take your call. I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to go to a concert tomorrow. And I hope he's safe because he has to fly out for a job. But Joe, I remember Joe's stance when it comes to voting this next election cycle. I just want to vote for the person that's not Trump. And that is not a viable explanation to me, as I also explained to my father. I said, Dad, I would respect this conversation a lot more if you give me reasons to be persuaded to your side. Why should I feel this passion? Why should I feel compelled to vote along the lines that you do or think like you do, when your primary stance is, I'm just voting for not that guy? That doesn't cut it for me. I need more skin in the game. So, in passing with the tablet on, apparently the media here and the good old US of A is reporting that Democratic voters are 95% more excited for the polls and to vote. Why? Is it because of J.D. Vance? You notice, by the way, alright, so J.D. Vance, I don't like a lot of things he said. I accept that. I like Trump. I'm going to vote Trump. I really dissected some of the things with, what's the most famous thing that J.D. Vance has said that's really stirred the pot recently. And I had to really, take my feelings out of it and think of it as logically as possible. He is calling for an incentive of any kind for people that have kids and families. Sorry, new phone, and I haven't fixed all the little engagements on this damn thing. To get maybe more of a tax break or more of a stake in what is done in the country. Now, as a little old person like me, that hit me, as he has said, because I did some research, basically I needed to hear more from him. I wanted to understand, what does he mean when he says something like that? I think he just basically is trying to say we're going to give people that have families, a bit more of a break, which makes sense to me. I don't know about it in terms of more power, because how would that actually appear? What would that look like? Giving families more power over a loner? I don't know. And so now he's doubled down and he calls the people that got so offended, like Kamala Harris, no, not Kamala Harris or Pelosi. They're the crazy cat ladies of the Democratic Party. They don't have families. AOC was one of them. They just have their pets and their anger and a chip on their shoulder. And so, yeah, I don't know. JD Vance didn't win me over, and I still don't really know entirely how I feel about him. But I'm glad I did. I took the time to flesh out what he was really trying to say, because we all know in the world of sound bites, we're gonna get lost in the moment of what the words say without the context, and that's just the way it is. Unfortunately, fleshed out a bit more, maybe I wouldn't have been as reactionary. But I'm curious if anybody has trying to call it, yeah. If anybody has an opinion on JD Vance, I'm interested. I want to know. I mean, because this is a big deal. This election is a big deal. I think Trump is healthy, but JD Vance is, a couple heartbeats away from getting in that seat of power. So I found myself in a bit of a conundrum. I'm not a fan of JD Vance, but I don't think he's evil, and I don't think he represents the boogeyman that the mainstream is trying to make him out to be. And I think he's trying to stand up for something that's a big issue that is not popular to talk about anymore, which is the lack of fertility right now. Baby making is not that popular in our country. You know what, Rob, since you're here, go ahead and fact check me on a single thing that I just said. Tell me, correct me on anything that I've just said right now. I'd appreciate it. What's up, Zanzin? Hey, Crystal. Good to see you. Please, by all means, because I'm going off the dome. I'd like to see you try. But everything I'm saying, I'm not making it up. The civil unrest in the UK is very much occurring, and it scares me because we're not that far off, especially with something as polarizing in this moment that we're all collectively in. What is going to happen during and after the election? It's kind of a scary place to go and to imagine. I know what my hopes are, but I also, the more I talk with the people that I see on a daily basis, the easier it is to kind of start to surrender yourself to cynicism, or even become a bit nihilistic about it and not care. And then it feels like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, if I do participate, I did my part, but does it really matter in the grand scheme? I am a drop of I'm a little spot of piss in a giant ocean. That's the extent of my vote. And then, super PACs, corporations acknowledged as voters, and just the way money plays in our political future. It really, really is disheartening to think about, and nothing's gonna stop me from going to the polls physically with my ID. I'm not a fan of the mail-in ballots. I think it should be made a holiday. I like Vivek quite a bit, and I hope if Trump does win, and I hope he does win, that Vivek gets to work in Trump's cabinet. I still haven't seen any proper explanation except for an official apology from RFK regarding this that recorded moment, for whatever reason, that the son did. Oh, apparently that secret recording was done by the son somehow without his father's knowledge, even though he's standing right there in front of the camera, so that he could get something juicy out of Trump regarding his stance on vaccines, which is insane to me and doesn't fully compute, because Trump has already kind of made it clear his own stance on vaccines and moving forward. So, I don't know. Yeah, this is the rant off. I think immigration is one of our greatest priorities, and there's a lot of threats that are facing our country, and I'd be a fool to pretend that they're big enough for me to understand, comprehend, or explain away and or offer a solution. One man, one woman, one they, them, they cannot do it. It's going to take a lot of us, and we're going to have to be loud. We're so used to the minorities, or whatever the case here, the alphabet soup people, or, anything that's out of the box, the opposite of the status quo, taking over the narrative and being the loudest. the loudest with the speaker phone or the microphone. I don't know. Is Trump's base, loud enough? And the media reporting that, like, I just heard this a half hour ago. How the fuck do they know that the Democrats are 95% now more invested and more excited to vote democratically or for the Democratic Party? Where just did they start handing out sheets of paper and say, "Are you more emboldened since J.D. Vance and his comments?" I'd recommend to anybody that has any confusion regarding J.D. Vance's comments, as I still kind of am, and I still don't like it. I don't like what he said, but I understand it. He's trying to say people that have a bigger stake in the future of this country because you have children and grandchildren. It just seems very disheartening to someone because I still have a family. I want my niece and nephew to have a lovely future, and their children. That's not a huge separation from people. Or I guess I don't know. If you're a parent, I mean, it's different. I won't sit here and speak for parents. That would be stupid of me. But I'd at least like to think that I understand. J.D. Vance is not going to stop me from voting Trump, but I do wish perhaps the chance or the opportunity would have gone to somebody different. I was really rooting for Vivek to be the one for that position. That's not the case, but that's not to say he's not going to be working for the cabinet, and that would make a power team if there ever was one. So yeah, I got some anxieties about everything that's... Wouldn't you be the male version of that childless cat lady? I don't know. What about you, Rob? What do we know about you? What's going on? What's up, Ice DJ? What's good? What are you doing with your life aside from watching me and having quips here and there? Hi, Cola. Good to see ya. You can call me the cat lady, Rob. You can call me whatever you want, sexy. Mwah. Rob comes here for his dose. My favorite fan right there. Best friends, secret lovers. Don't tell anybody. Hashtag Eli's girlfriend. Now, this is why I brought up every point that I just did. Like, as a voter, what does that make me in his eyes, and what does that mean politically? What does that mean on the books? Like, when legislation is being written, how will that impact anybody? Will tax brackets change? Will people that are not in families be taxed less or more? So I'm given questions more than answers, but I am still voting because Trump is the only person I see worthwhile voting for. I'd rather go in with a little bit of doubt than blindly go in for somebody just because I dislike the other person. That at least has a bit more conviction and meat on the bones than I'm just voting for not you. You know what I mean? Oh, by the way, I very late at night, totally unrelated to the rants in the very stupid lackluster title that I gave here. I watched Joe Rogan's special last night. I think it dropped last night. Whoa, man, I was very disappointed. I think I laughed out loud like maybe once or once and a half. I think Joe Rogan is a little overbloated with his fame, and he's not quite as funny. He is a great podcaster, a great interviewer. He can smoke and drink with the best of them, smoke a cigar like a mofo, and make some killer beef jerky. But that whole comedy special last night, which thank goodness was only an hour, wasn't that funny. Sorry, Joe Rogan. But yeah, I guess I just was feeling the rants and need to say some of my piece. Let me engage here. 2 to 4 years ago, JD said some of the same wild stuff Kamala said about Biden, but still got paired together. It's a clown shit. It does feel like Vance's comments might be a little controversial, but his policies are good. I hope so. I hope so. Because I'm not deviating from the path, and it's not out of spite. Because I just believe in Trump, as crazy as that may sound, especially as someone that was kind of groomed or grown to think or to hate Orange Man bad. That was my way of thinking. I would make the dumbest memes, and my time on Facebook was always to debate and argue and gaslight Republicans, and now here I am on the other side, possibly doing the same thing, only differently, because there's a camera on. I don't know. I'd love to hear any feedback, any engagement in the comments. I'd love some feedback regarding thoughts on JD Vance. They are just words. Words have power, especially when you're going to vote for the person who spews the words out. But I guess it did put a little hitch in my groove. But I'm still gonna proudly vote for Trump, as I keep on reminiscing over and over. But keep an eye on what's going on in the UK and whatever just happened and what that has caused some form of mobilization. It's a big, scary place. I'm very concerned about the economy. I can see physically, because Florida is still holding the top spot at the number one most expensive state in the country when it comes to cost of living, because I know the things that I usually enjoy purchasing are way more expensive than they ever have been in the history of my time here in Florida. And yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. So things better get a bit more practical. Surviving, it cannot feel like such a damn struggle every time. We don't need a break. We need some practicality and people that are invested for the right reasons, that want to see good be done and come from the constituency, us, we the people. Because right now, even though I'm all robust for voting, I still feel so powerless, and that's a sucky feeling. Feel free to drop some comments, man. I really do appreciate it. I'll be checking y'all out later. Josh and myself, Joe is away on a work trip, and Adam will be on tomorrow night. I don't know what tonight's gonna bring, but my mind's racing, and with the no drinking thing, you might just see me on a panel-esque form, and I might just open that link up to anybody. Rob, baby, you're invited, you know it. Bring your clown suit. Not the clown suit, no. Bring your birthday suit. Let me see what Zanzin got. And you look at it, who would care more about what happens for the future of the country? Someone who has kids. Yeah, that statement right there, period. Yes, I do believe so. And believes in family, or someone who has no kids and don't really believe in having family. That's a touche right there. And it's, to me it's like nuanced, but I'm taking that personally, which is not your intention. I'm just, not getting any younger, but the point makes itself. And I think, Zanzin, as you're spelling it out, that's exactly what J.D. Vance has been trying to explain. And, you know what? Every time I think of saying, so long, and just, hitting that button, I'm reminded, do you see what the media and the Democrats keep on weaponizing to try to discredit J.D. Vance? Their number one weapon, their super duper, laser beam, sharks and laser beams weapon here to make you terrified or angry at J.D. Vance, thus make you not want to vote for Trump, is, drumroll, calling him weird. What started this weird commentary? Because I watched a collaboration or a compilation of how many pundits, talking heads, and other front runners, or just runners in general, in the government, running for government, calling J.D. Vance weird, and that's becoming a weaponized word to discredit him, which has no substance whatsoever. Apparently this all came from the way he hugged the flag once. Wow, man, en masse, we are stupid. We are stupid. I always respect the individual, but when you put me in front of a full tribe, that's when I learn to start tuning out. And maybe therein lies a problem. Maybe that's why leadership is so damn important. And maybe that's why this election that feels like the final one feels so dire and scary to me. let's see what the future holds, folks, and I hope it's better than what the present is building up to be. Maybe we'll see each other later tonight, guys. I'm out of here. Still trying to figure out this dang phone. Y'all take care now, you hear?